Su Yunlan expressed surprise at the ruthless formation left for him by the second prince and his amazement that he survived it without Baizu. Yuanying, having personally witnessed the destructive power of the great heavenly formation during cultivation, claimed that she was powerless against it. Su Yunlan acknowledged that the second prince would not have survived if he were not capable, and inquired about Emperor Tang's presence. The eighth man confirmed that the emperor had arrived and emissaries were traveling from various towns in the western region. Su Yunlan speculated that the emperor had come to bring the test in the western region to a close. Recalling the day when Su Yunlan requested One-Eye's help in killing 2 people in the snowfields, the one-eyed man agreed. He also instructed the other men at the Longman Tavern to begin collecting rations and volcanic rocks, reminding them not to let anyone notice. Su Yunlan then asked Yuanying to prepare to welcome their father, as he had a feeling that he would come to their place directly. After a while, the minister announced the arrival of Emperor Tang. Yuanying greeted her father with wishes for a long life. The royal majesty smiled and asked everyone to rise, commenting that his children, Yinger and Lear, seemed to have lost weight. Su Yunlan still knelt and begged for his father's forgiveness, and the majesty asked what the matter was. He suggested they talk comfortably inside as it was very cold outside. Later, inside the tent, the majesty was mesmerized by the volcanic stone and praised the western region for its abundance of treasures. Yuanying informed him that she had arranged for the shipment of large quantities of volcanic rocks to the imperial capital. The majesty commended his daughter's efforts and said that he had heard good news about their company on his way there, and it seemed that Yuanying had won the heart of the western region. Yuanying responded that it was also a gift from her father to the people of the western region. The majesty then asked Su Yunlan what he was begging forgiveness for. Su Yunlan thought that the majesty was a treacherous old guy, only eyeing the Yingyun company up front and purposely leaving him hanging for so long. He then explained that his negligence had allowed concubine Xiang to escape and that he had planned to catch her during this trip to the western region but had never expected that the two would jump off a cliff while escaping. One-Eye then appeared with a sack containing Xiang Fei and Meng, who had apparently been dead. The majesty was surprised by the sudden appearance of One-Eye with Xiang Fei and Meng's bodies in the sack. Yuanying and Lai Tang were disbelieving of what they saw. The majesty thought about Su Yunlan's ruthlessness but also made sure that the others wouldn't have the opportunity to condemn him. He also thought that Su Yunlan purposely let him know that he could no longer investigate. He then decided to let it slide and praised Su Yunlan for protecting him back then. The death of concubine Xiang could be considered offsetting his contributions to the western region. The majesty believed that the Yingyun company was Su Yunlan's idea and asked him to explain how it operates. Su Yunlan thanked him, and the majesty mentioned that he would be designating an heir to the throne in 3 days based on the people's votes from each town in the western region. He then questioned why he hadn't heard any news from his other children. Su Yunlan made a face and thought that the majesty had forgotten about his children, telling him that they were busy with political affairs. In another place, the majesty's brother appeared from the bushes while enjoying the fresh air, and his trip to the 1,000-year-old tomb had not been in vain. He then decided to return to the mansion. However, he remembered that he needed to find his cheap old brother first. Chuqi and his group were walking in the mountains. Chuqi was skeptical, remarking that the group didn't look particularly special. The old man among the group chuckled in response, saying that although they may not be great fighters, their adventuring ability should not disappoint. He then called on his men to train hard and prove themselves to Master Chu. He ordered his men to be quick and show their worth to Chuqi, to which the men agreed. The old man then invited Chuqi to take a seat and wait while his men went to retrieve a map of the area. Suddenly, a flame phoenix appeared, startling the old men. The old man ordered his men to take it down, but before they could act, Chuqi sprang into action, using his skills to defeat the fire phoenix. The old man was impressed by Chuqi's abilities and praised him, telling his men to retrieve the defeated phoenix. Meanwhile, Mazan led Yu through the desolate valley, searching for her younger brother Zhao Ying. When they finally found him, he was crucified to a rock with a fire burning below him. Yu shouted for her brother and vowed to save him, but Mazan stopped her, cautioning her to wait. Out of nowhere, an arrow was fired at Yu from behind, and she attempted to avoid it, but she lost her balance after stumbling on a rock and still caught the arrow on her shoulder. Mazan jumped and saved her just in time. Bloodskull watched them from a distance, taunting Mazan and noting his change. Doubting that he would be the enemy of Heavenly Thunder, Mazan sensed the Bloodskull and declared his strength, threatening to kill him. The Bloodskull responded with a snide remark about Mazan's arrogance. He challenged Mazan, stating 3 possible outcomes: either Mazan would beat him first, Bloodskull would kill Mazan first, or the child present would burn to death first. In that moment, he snapped his fingers, making Xiao Ying begin to feel the burn on his legs, prompting you to call his name in concern. Bloodskull asked Mazin if he knew why he chose to fight him in that place. However, Mazin responded with confidence, suggesting that Bloodskull's plan had flaws. A fight ensued, with Bloodskull attacking Mazin with his claws, but Mazin was able to block it with his hands, and a sudden strike from the sky crashed to the ground. Bloodskull laughed at Mazin's inability to defeat him, but then stabbed his hands into Xiao Ying's chest, causing him to scream out in pain. The Bloodskull then revealed his true intentions, laughing maniacally and stabbing his hands into Xiao Ying's chest, causing him to cry out in pain. Mazin recognized Bloodskull's technique as the Blood Prison, a prison built using the blood of disciples as a guide, and the 7 mountains as a foundation. He realized that Bloodskull was behind the framing of King Q land by several martial arts sects, who surrounded them during their escape. Bloodskull expressed surprise at Mazin's knowledge, but Mazin responded with irritation and attacked him, causing him to be thrown away. Mazin then mentioned that if it weren't for Yunlan's return, Bloodskull would be dead. He then acquired Xiao Ying's body and made them both dissipate into thin air. Later on, while carrying Xiao Ying in his arms, you told Xiao Ying to wake up, trying to keep him from falling asleep. Mazin requested that you take care of Xiao Ying while he transferred the last trace of blood to him to help, to which you agreed. As Mazin was in the middle of doing the transfer, they were interrupted by a sudden noise behind him. Mazin realized that the blood prison had been activated and instructed you to destroy the blood pillar. Destroying it would prevent them from being trapped inside. He warned that being trapped inside the blood prison meant death, and it could only be broken from the outside by someone strong. After a while, Xiao Ying woke up from his sleep and smirked before suddenly transforming into a demon. It was revealed that Bloodskull had taken over Xiao Ying's body. He commented on the blood replacement method used to possess Xiao Ying's body, saying it was easy to use but slow to adapt. He instantly jumped fast and told Mazin that he would be trapped if he stayed there. In a later moment, he didn't expect the result of the experiment and felt even more powerful than before. He reveled in the pleasant surprise. He realized that he had gotten the blood of the strongest human in the world and that Mazin was now trapped for life. He then sent a message to Chu Qi and also felt something leaving his body. Meanwhile, Master Zhu spoke to Chu Qi, saying that the leader had referred to Chu Qi as a living king and that everything was in the hands of Master Chu, except for Chu Qi himself. Chu Qi responded to Master Zhu and said that the rest was up to him. He then added that his disciples were at work. Suddenly, a message from Bloodskull arrived, and Chu Qi read it immediately. The message stated that Mazin's blood had been recovered and that the purest number 0 was just around the corner. Chu Qi seemed to understand the message. Master Zhu got freaked out about the lotus, and out of nowhere, Chu Qi noticed the appearance of the bird. Master Zhu quickly ordered his men, and they then caught the lotus. Master Zhu expressed excitement and joy, exclaiming that he had finally obtained the longevity lotus fruit after 13 years. Master Zhu discusses the acquisition of the everlasting lotus and the need to wait for Master's solution 0. He also mentions that they need to obtain the resentful crystal Mengpo from the 1,000-year-old tomb, which is currently in the possession of another master. Master Zhu laughs and expresses confidence that combining the 3 items is just around the corner. Chu Qi responds with a dark smile and comments on how long Master Zhu has been out at sea for 13 years. Chu Qi sarcastically makes a dark comment about Master Zhu having a strong affection for the sea, suggesting to him that he may want to return for a short while. Late at night, at the princess's camp, Lai Tang questions Su Yunlan about whether he killed concubine Xiang. Su Yunlan denies the accusation, and Lai Tang expresses concern about Su Yunlan losing his humanity due to his thirst for power. Su Yunlan responds with a laugh, saying that if he were to become such a person, Lai Tang's sister would be the first to kill him. He Yan then chimes in, saying that he would be the first to castrate Su Yunlan. Yuanying speaks up and asks about the whereabouts of concubine Xiang. In the mountain cave, Zhang Fei questions Meng about how he can eat a cute rabbit. Meng notices Zhang Fei's tears and teases her about it. Zhang Fei denies that she's crying and asks when they can eat the roasted rabbit. Meng thinks that women are scary. The wind starts to whistle. Suddenly, they see the shadow figure of a human in the trees and hear a voice calling out to Su Yunlan as the one-eyed man reveals himself. The one-eyed man tells Su Yunlan that he has escorted someone, pointing to a general demon body. Su Yunlan apologizes and tells him that he is familiar with the terrain and can easily sneak in. Su Yunlan then asks Meng and Zhang Fei about their plan for the future and advises them that running away isn't the best solution, as the western region will fall into the hands of the Tang dynasty. Zhang Fei takes responsibility for the situation and blames herself. Meng responds with reassurance and expresses a commitment to their relationship. Zhang Fei responds by acknowledging the possibility of a worst-case scenario. Su Yunlan thinks that these two seem to have a penchant for risking their lives in the name of love. He then gives a letter to Zhang Fei and tells her to find a commander named Yahoo, who will help them. Su Yunlan assures them that he will come to pick them up once he has won the Western region and that he will keep them safe. Zhang Fei thanks Su Yunlan, calling him a second parent. Su Yunlan insists that they are friends. He asks if they have finished eating and suggests they get to work. In the evening, a group of guards discusses Su Yunlan's whereabouts. They express frustration over not being able to find any trace of him, despite shooting him with arrows. Suddenly, one of the guards spots a shadow in the forest and calls out, only to be swiftly killed by the general demon who is behind them. Zhang Fei comments on the demon's power. Later, Su Yunlan instructs Zhang Fei and Meng to ride a boat to the demon sect and deliver a package to Yahoo. As they leave, the demon general appears behind Su Yunlan, who tells the general demon that it's time to fight back. Back at the camp, Lai Tang is delighted and asks about the two corpses. Su Yunlan explains that he had the one-eyed man find some villains in the western region and change their appearance to match the corpses, ensuring that the authorities wouldn't connect them to him. However, Yuan Ying brings up another problem that still needs to be urgently addressed, to which Su Yunlan responds that it needs to be done as soon as possible. At One-Eyed Guy's mountain stronghold, guards were playing outside. One-Eyed Guy apologized to Su Yunlan for the guards' behavior and promised to discipline them properly once their game was over. However, Su Yunlan told him it was not necessary and that he had given some thought to their situation. He proposed that instead of joining the army, they wait for the Ying Yun Company to become more prosperous. Those who were familiar with the dangerous roads in the western region would serve as guards and guides for the merchants. One-Eyed Guy expressed surprise at this proposal, stating that they used to specialize in robbing merchants, and he never expected that they would serve as their guards in the future. Inside the tent, two people were having a chicken fight. One person was cheering on Cherry, encouraging the chicken to take down the opponent on the other side. The other person laughed, claiming that his black bull was the king of chickens for 3 consecutive terms and that it was the best and one of a kind. As the fight between the chickens continued, the people around them cheered loudly. Eventually, the fight ended and it was revealed that Cherry had won. The person who had been cheering for Cherry was overjoyed and exclaimed that Cherry was the best and unbeatable. However, the other person was disappointed and thanked their black bull for its hard work, even though it was no longer the king of chickens. They acknowledged that being the king for 3 consecutive terms was proof of their worth, but they also seemed to be crying as they said it. Su Yunlan asked if they were the princes, to which Yuan Ying confirmed. One of the princes greeted Su Yunlan and asked why he was interested in seeing them. Yuan Ying explained that the result of the trial in Volcano Town would be announced by their father in 2 days. This news surprised the princes, who realized that the competition in the western region was coming to an end. The other prince lamented that happy times were always so short. The other prince brought up the fact that the Chicken King tournament had only been held 6 times so far. Then, one of the princes mentioned a newly organized tournament called Frog Hide and Seek. Su Yunlan questioned them about the tournament, and the prince explained to him that each of the 9 princes in the dungeon would send a frog to participate, and the goal was to catch each other's frogs with oil lamps. Some princes expressed excitement and confidence in their own animals, while others mocked them. Su Yunlan thought that he didn't expect the mountain stronghold to become a reform house for the princes. Su Yunlan then asked if they would be free to participate in the result announcement of the trial in the western region after 2 days, to which the princes confirmed. The princes then revealed that they understood he came to the stronghold to keep their imprisonment a secret, and that they had no intention of blackmailing him. He explained that they didn't want to fight for the throne until death like other members of their family and had been enjoying their time in the stronghold. He proposed a deal with Su Yunlan. If he helped them stay in the western region after he took control of it, they would give up their claim to the stronghold. Su Yunlan agreed but warned them that they might not be able to stay there for a long time. The prince accepted his offer. In a forest where guards are searching for something, they call out to the second prince and show him something they have found. The second prince is surprised and thinks that something has happened to Bai Zhu. The guards explain that the residents have reported seeing Bai Zhu with an entourage at the mansion. The second prince is surprised to hear this, as Bai Zhu usually works alone. He suspects that Su Yunlan might be behind this, but wonders how they were able to defeat Bai Zhu, who is known for her exceptional martial arts skills. The guards then inform the second prince that they have caught all the people who were scattered around the western region to send cattle and sheep. The second prince is pleased to hear this and asks if they have taken care of them. The guard confirms that they have all been taken care of, and the beasts in the forest will be able to feast on them that day. The guard then informs the second prince that they have caught someone else and brings the person up. The person pleads with the second prince to let him go and offers to negotiate and give him anything he wants. The second prince is intrigued and asks if he can really give him everything he wants. The guards then remove the sacks covering the person's face and reveal Jia. The second prince recognizes him as a member of the company, who are well informed and well connected. The second prince decides to take action and punches Jia in the stomach, causing him to open his mouth in pain. The second prince then throws a stone into Jia's mouth and orders the guards to take him back. He informs them that in 3 days, his father will announce the trial result of the Western region, and it will be impossible for Su Yunlan to escape. In Volcano Town Square, the Royal Majesty asks why the second prince hasn't arrived yet. The other prince responds that something must have delayed him. Su Yunlan urges them to start, and the Majesty addresses the people of the Western region. The Majesty declares that he is the emperor and master of the Tang dynasty, and that since its establishment, the dynasty has always cared for its people and aimed to save the world as a whole. He acknowledges that the Tang dynasty is now the strongest in the world, despite the undermining efforts of some ministers. Su Yunlan wonders whether the people of the Western region will truly become happier under the Tang dynasty's rule. The Majesty then announces that the Tang dynasty plans to establish a ferry crossing point between the Western region and the Central Plain, aiming for better communication and a better life in a troubled land. He reveals the results of a trial where their children experienced life in the Western region and choose the best child to become the leader of the Western region. The minister then takes over and announces the trial result, mentioning the feedback from the people of each town and the reports submitted by the Imperial Guard. This prompts Su Yunlan to think that they didn't know the Imperial Guard was present the whole time. The minister announces that the winner and the most supported challenger of the trial in the Western region is Princess Tang Ying. However, in the middle of the announcement, a person chokes and collapses. Su Yunlan notices that many people are collapsing. Meanwhile, the Majesty demands to know what's happening and orders his people to wake them up. The minister follows the order and tries to wake up one of the people by slapping their faces, but he is shocked to see blood on the person's cheeks. Suddenly, the second prince appears and accuses Su Yunlan of harming the people of the Western region by taking advantage of the trial and claims that her conspiracy has been exposed. He demands that Su Yunlan give himself up and confess to what he has done. The Majesty expressed disbelief. The second prince then entered, apologizing for being late, and explained that he was looking for evidence. The Majesty demanded an explanation, and the second prince ordered a guard to bring someone named Jia Yueting up to them. The second prince initially thought that his sister and prince consort Su had set up the Yingyun Company to bring a better life to the people in the Western region, but he discovered that the merchants from the Yingyun Company were smuggling poisons. Meanwhile, Su Yunlan looked at Yuan Ying, and they exchanged thoughts. Yunlan said that it seemed like the second prince had some tricks up his sleeve and it was likely that something had gone wrong. Yuan Ying, on the other hand, thought that no matter how it turned out later, they should run. The second prince presented more evidence to support his claims. He explained that people in other towns were losing consciousness one after the other, coinciding with the establishment of the Yingyun Company. He further revealed that after his investigation, it was indeed the Yingyun Company that was responsible for the poison. Jia supported the second prince's claims and accused Princess Tang Ying and prince consort Su Yunlan of poisoning their food on the pretext of providing it at a low cost. He also mentioned that they were all heavily poisoned and forced to help poison the people, or else they would not receive the antidote regularly. The Royal Majesty ordered the minister to give the antidote to the fainted emissary. The minister confirmed that the antidote worked. The Majesty then asked if anyone had dealt with the merchants from the Yingyun Company. The person responded that he was in charge of the investigation and stayed at the Longman Tavern and bought volcanic rock from the company's merchants. The second prince confronted Su Yunlan, accusing him of being responsible for the poison. He said that the emissary was poisoned after having close contact with their company and tavern and warned that the other towns in the Western region must also be affected. He demanded that Su Yunlan hand over the antidote, or the consequences would be disastrous. The Majesty addressed Yuan Ying and Yunlan, asking them what they had to say. Yuan Ying responded by denying any wrongdoing and arguing that it was unreasonable to ask an innocent person to prove their innocence. The second prince then accused Yunlan of being an insidious villain, and the Majesty ordered for Su Yunlan to be arrested and an investigation to be launched to protect the poisoned and unconscious people. Yuan Ying objected to her father's decision, insisting that Yunlan was innocent and offering to be arrested along with him. The Majesty became angry with his daughter's defiance and accused her of trying to revolt. Yuan Ying apologized and promised to investigate the matter further, then left with Su Yunlan. However, they were stopped by a mysterious person who captured them using spells. Yuan Ying was surprised by the person's abilities and commented on his skill in manipulating inner force. She then attacked the person, but her attack was deflected, causing a loud explosion. The second prince appeared, protecting the mysterious person from a knife attack, causing the knife to be in the direction of the Majesty. Someone alerted the Majesty to watch out. Bai Yun breaks the knife, calls Majesty his brother, and asks how he will survive without him. The Majesty is surprised and feels relieved at Bai Yun's return after a long absence. The second prince offers to personally lead a chase, but Majesty tells him there's no need for that, as Bai Yun has returned and will handle it. Bai Yun greets Majesty as a good leader, and the second prince thinks about the sudden appearance of so many uncles after a long time. He also notices a crystal that Majesty is holding. Majesty then orders the remaining Imperial guards to catch Ying'er's men, and the second prince acknowledges his father's command. In the princess's camp, the second prince orders the Imperial guard to search the camp. The Imperial guard reports that the people in the camp have already left. The second prince is disappointed and criticizes the Imperial guards for not being able to find a few people. He senses a murderous aura around them and realizes he cannot offend the Imperial guards since they are under the control of his uncle and father and have the right to act first and report later. The second prince asks the Imperial guards to search the area carefully for any clues, and the guards continue their search. Suddenly, a snake attacks the Imperial guards, and one of the guards suggests burning the snake. The head Imperial guard notices that something isn't right as he can smell fuel oil. He tries to warn them to stop, but it's too late as the area suddenly explodes due to the fuel oil, burning everything in the princess's camp. The Imperial guard realizes that whoever attacked the camp anticipated their move to use fire, and poured fuel oil on the area to destroy any evidence. As a result, there are no traces left for them to search. In a carriage where Yuan Ying is seen puking blood due to a recent fight she had encountered, Su Yunlan asks if she is alright, and Yuan Ying replies that she's feeling much better. Yuan Ying informs Su Yunlan that the person she fought was the second prince's wife. She tells him that she saw her face when her sword energy cut a small opening in her black cloth. Su Yunlan is surprised to hear this news and thinks that things are getting more complicated. He then asks Yi Yan about the other members of the 8th group, and Yi Yan assures him that he has already arranged everything and left no traces. Su Yunlan is pleased with how Yi Yan gets things done and hopes to meet up with him near the dock soon. In the distance, Bai Yun watches the carriage fleeing away. He then attacks the carriage, causing it to lose balance and fall. Bai Yun demands that Yuan Ying surrender herself, but when he destroys the carriage, he finds no one inside it. He realizes that it was a diversion tactic and laughs at himself for not being able to tell the trick apart. Bai Yun demands to know where Su Yunlan is and promises to spare their lives if they tell him. However, the 8th man refuses to divulge any information and sacrifices themselves by cutting their neck, showing their loyalty to Su Yunlan. The man thinks about his past, remembering how he was not skilled in martial arts or devising schemes, and therefore was not treated well in his sect, leading to feelings of humiliation. Su Yunlan then speaks, asking the man if he would like to be his subordinate. He tells him that he likes him very much and that he doesn't have to practice martial arts, just continue to display their brilliant ideas. He assures him that as long as he has 8 groups, he can get any information he needs. Back in reality, the two 8th men think about how it's an honor to meet Su Yunlan and smile after they die. Bai Yun calls the 2 men brave little fellows but questions if they really think he can't do anything about it. He tells them that it's just a matter of time before he catches up to them. In that moment, Bai Yun catches up with them and claims that although he's been underground for years, he has been getting better at finding directions. He then calls out to Yuan Ying, calling him uncle, and comments on how it's been a while. Bai Yun then remarks that he met Ying'er once when he first entered the capital and never expected him to become the top prince consort in the Tang dynasty in such a short time and cause so much trouble. Su Yunlan responds by telling Bai Yun not to make him laugh and that he would never do something he'd be ashamed of and denies any knowledge of sudden accidents in the western regions. Bai Yun tells Su Yunlan that it's no use explaining himself to him and that he should persuade his brother instead. Bai Yun remarks that since Su Yunlan can train such good subordinates that are willing to sacrifice their lives for him, he won't fight him. Su Yunlan is surprised to hear Bai Yun mention subordinates willing to sacrifice their lives for him. Bai Yun then tells Su Yunlan to be a good boy and turns back. Su Yunlan turns to Yi Yan and asks Bai Yun what happened to his subordinates, and Bai Yun reveals that they are dead. Upon hearing this, Su Yunlan suddenly attacks Bai Yun. Yi Yan intervenes, telling Yunlan to stop. Bai Yun comments that Su Yunlan's impulsiveness will never make him a capable man. He then blocks Su Yun's attack with his martial arts technique and remarks that Yunlan's power is too weak. Bai Yun looks towards the upcoming swords and dodges them. Suddenly, a demon general appears on his back and attacks him, but Bai Yun blocks the attack. He is surprised that it was a demon general attacking him, thinking it was an ambush. Yi Yan expresses concern about Su Yunlan's current state, saying that he is blinded by anger and is no match for Tang Bai Yun. However, Yuan Ying interrupts and tells everyone to get on the carriage and head to the dock immediately. She tells Yi Yan that, according to what Su Yunlan said earlier, he purposely allowed the demon general to take him away to create the impression that the demon general appeared out of nowhere. Yuan Ying explains that if Su Yunlan didn't get rid of the demon, it would cause trouble for humans, and her uncle is confident in his own ability to find them, even if they have a head start. Suddenly, someone appears and asks where Su Yunlan is. Yan responds that he went into the woods. Yuanying suggests they rendezvous with the troops, and Yunlan will be okay. A loud blast is heard in the forest. Bai Yun is shocked and wonders how there could be such a vicious demon general in the western region. Meanwhile, Su Yunlan, who is in the body of a demon, realizes that he's in trouble and needs to think of something else to avoid getting caught. Suddenly, Su Yunlan stops and throws his human body at Bai Yun, who is surprised by the unexpected move. Then, the general demon punches Bai Yun in the face, creating another loud bang. Su Yunlan is pleased with the outcome, thinking that Bai Yun has fallen for his trap. Bai Yun, recovering from the punch, is surprised to realize that the beast actually has intelligence. He yells at the demon, telling him that he's angered him, and throws a kunai towards Su Yunlan. However, Su Yunlan is worried that the kunai might hit him and thinks that he might lose his head. Fortunately, the kunai is deflected by another weapon. Bai Yun wonders who could have deflected his attack, and then Yahoo appears and attacks him. Bai Yun manages to dodge the attack, but suddenly Su Yunlan's body and Yahoo disappear. He wonders where they went and realizes that if Su Yunlan and Yahoo are on the same side, he can't pursue them alone. A few moments later, Yahoo asks Su Yunlan about his demon's whereabouts. Su Yunlan reassures him that his demon will come back to find him once he finishes eating in the forest. Su Yunlan then mentions that Commander Yi arrived just in time. Yahoo expresses his surprise at receiving Yan's emergency signal as soon as he arrived, which is why he had to come to the mountain one step ahead of the troops. He tells Su Yunlan that they'll talk about what happened when they get back and that he has something to tell him. Su Yunlan asks Yahoo what it is, and Yahoo reveals that something has happened to the demon lord. At the Emperor's camp, the Majesty comments that he didn't expect his little brother to be defeated, expressing a rare occasion. Bai Yun shrugs in response, saying that he didn't expect Su Yunlan to have the power of controlling demons. He further adds that Su Yunlan's absence for so many years is the reason he fell for his trap. The second prince thinks about his uncle's arrogant and obstinate attitude. He vows to find out what happened to him after disappearing for so many years. Bai Yun then asks the second prince to get up and speak, indicating that he has kneeled long enough. The Majesty orders him to get up. The second prince admits to his incompetence in letting Su Yunlan escape and failing to arrest his henchmen in time. He further confesses to sacrificing 2 of the imperial guards and asks for his father and uncle to punish him. Bai Yun interrupts, asking the second prince what he means by punishment and stating that the imperial guards died because they were useless. An imperial guard speaks up, saying that they are only rats in front of the emperor of the Tang dynasty and the commander. The second prince thinks that the imperial guard is a good one and that he could never get his own servants to say such inhumane words. The Majesty then tells the second prince to forget about punishment, stating that his timely exposure is already useful enough. He then asks the second prince if he knows of any master in the western region who can go head-to-head with the uncle. The second prince replies that there isn't anyone who is good at fighting or a so-called master there, and he deduces that the one who saved Su Yunlan must not be from the western region. Bai Yun adds that the person must be from the Tang dynasty. The Majesty suggests that the only person who can come from the demon sect is probably the commander of the Black Knight, Yahoo, who kills and destroys many demons. Bai Yun thinks that it must be him and that Xu and Qi had such a brilliant eye for spotting talent. The Majesty tells the second prince to leave it to his uncle and the imperial guards to capture Su Yunlan, and that the top priority is to calm down the people in the western region and rescue the unconscious villagers as soon as possible. The second prince assures his father that he has already sent someone to study the antidote provided by Jie Yueding, and he believes there will be results soon. He thinks that Su Yunlan will never escape from the western region and will ultimately fall into his hands, including his tavern. He laughs maniacally. Bai Yun suggested to the Majesty that he believed Ying'er would be a better fit for the position of ruler. The Majesty responded, acknowledging that he also believed Ying'er would be a more suitable ruler. However, he then added that it did not really matter who became the next ruler since they already had Meng Po in their possession. The Majesty concluded by stating that he intended to remain the ruler of the Tang dynasty. Bai Yun was surprised and responded with silence. At the camp, where Yuanying asks what happened to her stepfather, Yahoo explains that every senior member of the demon sect leaves a trail of their blood in the core of the Great Mountain Defense Formation to light up the ever-burning lamps. Once the ever-burning lamp stops burning, it means that the owner's presence has completely disappeared from this world. Yuanying says that before she came to the camp, she saw the demon lord's ever-burning lamp extinguished. Yuanying turns to Su Yunlan and asks what they should do. Su Yunlan explains the situation. According to Commander Yi, his father might be in a dire situation and is cut off from the outside world, but he assures everyone that his father has Yu and Ying, who are skilled in survival. He also reminds them that they are far away in the western region and cannot do anything to help at the moment. He then apologizes for concealing what the 8th group was doing from Su Yunlan, but Su Yunlan reassures him that it is not his fault. He blames himself for letting his guard down and not expecting the second prince to have a trick up his sleeve. He also warns everyone not to sacrifice themselves for him in the future, stating that he only wants to bring a good life to those who believed in him. Meanwhile, Yehu thought that Su Yunlan had grown tremendously by exhibiting such a fearless attitude in a dangerous situation. Su Yunlan then explains that they are in a terrible situation, and Tang Baiyun and the Imperial Guard will come for them soon. He also reveals that he asked Mrs. Yang and her husband to send a message to Commander Yi and ask for the Black Knight as soon as possible. He noted that if he had not done so, all their efforts in the Western region would have been ruined. Yehu asks about the reason for bringing the Black Knight to the Western region and giving up protecting the demon sect. Su Yunlan explains that everyone in the demon sect, except for Commander Yi, the Black Knight, and the 8th group, are all Chu Qi's men, so it does not mean much to protect them. He also reveals that he wants to build their base in the Western region, so it is better to have the Black Knight stay there for good. He yet asks Su Yunlan what their plan is now. Su Yunlan replies that they should attack the snow-capped mountain. Yan is surprised by this suggestion. Su Yunlan suspects that the second prince is hiding something in the snow-capped mountain because of the sudden illness of people in the Western region, and the prince's wife's mysterious power. Yan expresses concern that they might be stopped by the Imperial Guards before they can reach the snow-capped mountain, given the large number of people in their group. Su Yunlan counters by saying that their biggest advantage at this moment is that no one knows that they know the location of the second prince's secret base. As long as they move quickly, they will be able to infiltrate the snow-capped mountain before the second prince can take notice. Therefore, he plans to send only a handful of elites to carry out the infiltration. Yehu agrees that it is a good idea to attack the mountain while the second prince is unprepared, but he asks if they have specific intel on the mountain. Su Yunlan admits that they do not, but he believes that the second prince's military strength is weak. Yehu suggests making a prompt decision to kill whoever stands in their way. Su Yunlan agrees but suggests taking a quick break first. He then instructs Commander Yi to take 50 Black Knights and follow him to attack the base on the snow-capped mountain with a one-eyed guy leading the way. Yuanying expresses interest in following Su Yunlan, but he tells her that her wounds have not entirely healed, and she is given an important mission to dispatch the Black Knights. Yan is also given the right to dispatch the Black Knights and is asked to support Yinger by taking charge of the 8 groups, which are a primary source of intel. The purpose of these assignments is to deal with Tang Baiyun's Imperial Guards and delay them for more time. Su Yunlan informs them that the 8th group is not inferior to the Imperial Guard in terms of collecting intel. He leaves the battle in Yan's hands but reminds him not to engage in a head-on confrontation with Tang Baiyun as he is incredibly scary. Their main objective is to rescue the key members of the Yingyun Company and the tavern, which are crucial cornerstones for their base in the Western region and cannot be abandoned. Su Yunlan leaves this task to Yuanying, saying that it is equivalent to meeting the second prince head-on.